Oh, am I too close? Oh. So, welcome back to Tales to Morrow. I am Morrow, your tiefling storyteller for today, and with me I have some RPG horror stories. I don't have much more to say, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the stories. Pervert player won't take a hint. My coworker wanted to try D&D. I helped him set up a character, and the first session, most of the combat, went okay. He kept saying he was new every 10 to 15 minutes, but overall, it wasn't that bad. Second session, he comes in and interrupts the DM while he is doing a recap. He kept asking questions that the DM was trying to say. Then he started arguing about what to do because he wanted to XP farm, we're a milestone campaign. Eventually, we convinced him to go to the docks where he threatened to kill the first mate NPC for no reason and only backed off after being told he would be destroyed. Then he started hitting on the captain. At this point, I pulled him aside and let him know D&D was not the place to play out his sexual fantasies. D&D is what your table agrees on, and unless the table agrees ahead of time that they want their game to be an ERP table, then you know, this kind of stuff is okay. Flirting is fine. Flirting is a-okay, but if he goes a little bit too far, then I think it's not okay. Consent and boundaries, people. Consent and boundaries. He said okay, which lasted until he started hitting on the helmsman. He went and searched her room so he could find something to talk to her about. Found a picture of her and her husband and proceeded to hit on her. DM threatened him, ignored him, let her refuse to participate. It came to a head when the player decided a distraction was needed and he would take one for the team, in his words. He went and forcefully kissed the helmsman, who turned out to be a badass. He was warned. That kills him. Unconscious on the deck, doing his death and saving throws, he was still trying to hit on her. DM decided to give him one more chance and allowed him to be stabilized. Player was secured below decks and continued to try and do stuff even though he was unconscious. Eventually, he gets up, a day later, and immediately goes back to the helmsman who had been injured in combat and heals her. Then she says she owes him. DM called it a night, and I will not be calling my coworker for the next session. Okay, the story had me when the problem player came back and was like healing the helmsman, right? Because I mean, like, wow, actually being like, you know, something good, something beneficial, and then goes, you owe me. Ugh. Listen, public displays of affection and kissing and stuff, that's fine, you whatever. Flirting, go right ahead, do whatever. But I mean, at the same time, it also needs to be stated that consent and boundaries are important. If the DM does not feel like flirting back in character, then don't make your DM flirt back in character. Some DMs are okay with that, and they're completely fine with that. Others, they find it uncomfortable. Maybe they're not used to it. Maybe they don't want to run this sort of game. Understand that if somebody says, I don't really like to do that, just don't. I mean, if the player wants to go find a game where flirting with random NPCs and trying to ERP D&D, there are probably games out there that can find online, no problem. I mean, somebody even in the comment section said there's a game posted in like Roll20 or something where the guy just straight up and like says, hey, look, I just want a DM to basically play out my harem fantasy. That's all I really want. At least he's being upfront about it. At least he's being upfront and direct about what the player wants. And they'll probably find a DM that is perfectly cool with running that. I don't know. Listen, people like different things. And as long as you find people that like the same thing that you like, and then everything is going to be peachy, and that's going to be fine. But at the same time, like, don't force the DM to do things that they don't want to do or they're not comfortable with, and don't subject your players to that if they're not comfortable with it. Boundaries and consent are a pretty cool thing to have, right? Because like for some people, D&D can be a relaxing game. For others, it could be a true hardcore RPG experience. For others, it could be a nice way to roleplay with their significant other or something. I don't know. Also, for real, don't force the DM to do flirting scenes and stuff like that if they don't want to. Some DMs are just not comfortable with it. It's okay. That's completely fine. Find a table that is comfortable with it. Easy peasy. The tale of the DM that got salt in his mouth. Hard. Alright, I'm gonna cut to the chase here, since there isn't much to mull over, so here's the basic introduction. DM, the problem guy here. I'll elaborate in the story. Me, I was a new player joining an online D&D session. Tarun, chill dude, likes to roleplay and gets into character. There's only a few people here that really matter, so let's just get on with it. The beginning. It says the Beninging joke. That broke my brain. for real. I joined a campaign for 5e in the Faerun setting in which we were running Dragons of Icespire Peak, with an incentive on trying to make the game slightly harder because survival is funny to explore. I was interviewed early on and I was interested in the campaign as I've been deprived of one for a long while. Spoke to the DM and we agreed on most things and went over new rules that we had added that he thought was really cool. The thing we all mainly agreed on was spellcasting being changed, as we wanted to really have fun with magic and see if it suffered more than usual when it came to our rolls. I mainly spoke to DM about the possibility of it being connected to a spell plague due to my knowledge of the setting as running it for a while, and he revealed that something was going on with Mistra. This is something that we spoke of, as it was a rule we agreed upon. Soon enough, I got an invite to the Discord and eventually went on to see the rest of the group, who to me weren't that prevalent other than just being regular players. Everything was cool at this point. We're all expecting a cool series of campaigns and we look forward with our characters. After first session, I asked everyone to try and slow it down a bit, because I can't really follow if things go bad, and I dilly-dally. We laughed it off. Okay, starts like a pretty good start, but let's see where it gets really bad then. The DM, right before our first session, sent a document about the changing of the resting rules. Short rests were changed to 30 minutes, and long rests were absolved of the risk-reward system already there. The DM would advise when we could long rest or not, or if we get the right or wrong lodging. We'd lose benefits of what we get with a long rest, as some features would be inaccessible. In my opinion, it took away from the chance of risk of making the rest more risky. I was against the new rules, but didn't wish to speak against them at the time, and I really just wanted to have a good game without drama. And I didn't enjoy them to be implemented because I'm less resource looking and more of a roleplay kind of player. Soon we go on without them and have a nice combat. Afterwards we eventually went and moved on with the next session, and I finally got the courage to speak against how I didn't enjoy them. We took some time and I didn't want to take away from the experience, so I tried to figure out if I wanted them or not, or if I wanted to stay because of them, because the players wanted me to feel comfortable with whatever they were doing. I took time, couldn't find an answer. DM moved it back to next week, and we moved on. I just got the next parts without a hitch. Everything seemed cool, I talked with the Troon about our characters and such, and I eventually moved on to sleep or my job. If your DM has specific rules that introducing mid-session, that's gonna be a surprise for everyone. Unless everybody is perfectly cool with the new rules being added, you should probably speak up and let them know, hey, I'm not comfortable with these sort of rules, I don't know if I'm gonna like them or not, especially after first session, right? Always make sure to give your DM feedback, because maybe the DM is just introducing something that could be cool, so they're introducing a new rule, it could work out, could not work out, but I mean, if you have a problem with it, or if you don't like a specific rule, always speak up. Communication out of character with your DM and your table is very, very important. It's good to know and let people know that, hey, I'm not cool with this, hey, I'm not cool with that, hey, this is confusing, can we change that, hey, I'm not really understanding this, can you please talk me through it and stuff. It's a very important. Communication solves so many issues when it comes to TTRPGs or any sort of group projects. Actually, now that I think about it, that's probably very true about the group projects. I remember so many university-based projects, like group projects and everything, where nobody communicated. I was the only one that was left to do the project and try to communicate with everybody and try to get somebody to do something because nobody else wanted to do anything, and I was left to do everything by myself. PTSD. The moment I was at work and I was on break, found a series of messages in a private group chat which I was invited to. I came evidently late, but the DM began to curse out most of the player base, including me for being so indecisive, as well as the others, including Troon, for being too into character. Started calling us sorts of names, and everyone just collectively left because of his words. I talked to Troon about it, and he spoke briefly about it to me. He didn't seem very happy about it. We were cool and all, but the DM's words were too much for him, and the rest of them are good friends, and the DM had been a problem like this for years apparently. I pondered on leaving myself, and I realized that only it was me and two other players and DM left. I didn't quite enjoy the company, frankly, as they were more static than the other players. Are they trying to offer some sort of advice and tell me issues that should be fixed and should we work together through this? No, they're all wrong. Let's go berate them and write them DM messages and tell them they're stinky and stupid and dumb and stuff, because they're the ones that are wrong. Seriously, it just seems like the DM is just throwing a temper tantrum. If majority of your players are not liking the rules that you're adding, the homebrew rules you're adding to the game, then you probably should just remove them. Is it really going to be worth it trying to yell and scream and holler at them for being so dumb and stinky and stupid and berate them in private DMs no less? No. They're not going to want to play the game. Why would they want to play a game if you're going to be a dickhead about it, dude? You know probably what happened. After the players said, hey, yeah, we don't like the rules, the DM was just seething, thinking, they don't like my rules, they don't like my game. How dare they not like my game? It's not me that's the problem. I'm finding good rules for my game, and these players are ungrateful. Anyway, the DM just had a meltdown and basically talked to the players about how they were stinky and dumb and stupid and decided to insult their player base. Of course nobody wanted to stick around and play, and the people that stuck around and play, what are you doing? This is an abusive DM, this is a jerk of a DM. Leave him, find somebody else. No D&D is better than bad D&D, trust me. Now everyone doesn't know what's coming next, because the DM has no idea how to reconfigure all of this, and I don't want to stay any longer there at all. All those guys were cool, I don't want to continue on without them. I don't know if it was my fault or not, but I hope not. I'm probably just gonna move on though. It just doesn't really seem worth it for the DM will yell and curse all players instead of just talking. Yeah, if that's the DM's response to anything at all that's like any sort of criticism, then yeah, you should probably leave. Everybody should leave. Because if this DM can't get their emotions in order and can just reasonably understand rationally that, hey, player just having a problem with it. Oh, how dare they have a problem in my game? Listen, problems arise, problems happen. You know what you should do? Don't be the one that reacts to problems. Be the one that solves them. Problem solution. Problems in TTRPGs are just a big practice in problem solving solutions. And the only thing you need to do is not be an aggressive asshole about it and just start berating your players. That's an easy way to lose your players, and then everybody else is going to be like, wow, when will he berate us again? I don't think I want to stay in this game if I'm just going to be berated and insulted for just offering simple criticism. Of course, people don't want to stay in your game if you're just going to be constantly berating them for any sort of criticism. Seriously, didn't we learn that as like little kids? When I learned a little baby tiefling, I learned, you know, show respect you want to be given. It's not difficult. It's not hard. Except apparently for this DM, it's pretty hard. What a jerk. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.